didn't start dating for real till I was like 22. So like I was hyper focused on relationships. And then like I got older, I started dating, and I realized like, girl, this is not that important. I could find a man. I need a house.
I can find that easily. I need a career, a 401k, and an insurance plan.
Like, we were not all supposed to be Lynn in this bitch. Okay? Some
that's
of
what
us
it's given.
were supposed to be Jones. Some of us, damn, I would took Tony. Not Tony. I mean, I would took Maya. She may have had an annoying ass husband and a kid who Tony couldn't pronounce his name correctly, but she had a home, okay?
Hey y'all, this is Taylor.
And this is Desi.
And you're listening to New Growth, where we revisit what we thought we knew and give ourselves room to grow.
Sometimes we ain't right, but
we ain't never
there.
wrong.
Oh, wait. Let's go with that. How have you been, Miss Lady?
You know what? I have been feeling sublime, honestly.
Okay.
And not so much that I feel like my life has changed in any crazy way, but simply that I have just shifted my perspective. Now, not in a delusional way, or I'm not going to lie and say it's not a little delusional, okay? Delulu is the Salulu.
Okay.
But I've just decided, and I've quoted a few times, Mariah Carey, I'm doing the best I can with what I got.
Okay.
And I can't do no more than that.
I mean, yeah, especially during trying times such as these. I don't even need to timestamp it because living in America right now is ghetto, okay? I think for a lot of us, especially like a lot of us like late 20s, early 30s people, it can be a little disheartening. So I'm glad that you're shifting your perspective because it's just hard to be like in this age range. You're supposed to have certain things, but we don't. And I think I've been feeling a lot of that lately.
Child, they want them student loans back. And every time I think about it, I be like, you can just take the paper back.
Ain't any new bills.
They just mailed me that degree. I don't even have it framed yet. Take it back. I'm not using it.
And I think like we're already kind of going into like our main conversation of what we wanted to talk about here. Because, girl, it's a struggle being, like, in your early 30s in America right now. And I think that, you know, when we were younger, like, Que Sera Sera is a song that I love. I like the Sly and the Family Stone version because, you know, power to my people. But, you know, the song starts off with, when I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what would I be? Would I be pretty? Would I be rich? And here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Basically, like, girl, I don't know if you're going to be fine. And I don't know if you're going to be rich either. Life is just going to life, child. And I think that it, like, that song became so much more poignant to me once I got older and I realized that whatever would be would actually fucking be. But like
fuck those games of MASH that you were playing, okay? The mansion, the whatever the fuck else, the apartment, whatever, shack house, like fuck that game, okay?
Fuck being married by 25.
Oh, fuck that,
girl. Fuck having an actual home with bricks and windows.
As millennials, we trying our damnedest. We are trying. But I feel like the idea of owning a home
is just far away. It's like light years away. It's a galaxy far, far away. But when we were younger, like Joan Clayton, she didn't have a man, but she had a beautiful home in L.A.
And that was enough for me.
Girl, Carrie Bradshaw, Big may have gotten on her nerves for damn near a decade, but the bitch had a nice apartment in New York proper, like... Girl, in Manhattan, no less.
And honestly, it's so funny, like, thinking of girlfriends and watching, like, Sex and the City. It is so funny to think that the one thing you thought you was missing was an irritating-ass nigga.
Girl was a man.
Like, your life not good?
No.
What you mean? What you mean, sis? You got a backyard.
But she's not, like, I think it was, you know, you're not a complete woman without a man.
Boo.
Boo, like, boo for real. But I think, you know, growing up, it was, I always thought, okay, I'm going to go to college, like the women I see on TV. and I'm going to get a job and I'm going to have a nice home. And like the thing that was supposed to be hard or was going to be hard was like finding someone to settle down with. And it was very believable for me, especially at that age, because like I didn't start dating for real till I was like 22.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was hyper focused on relationships. And then like I got older, I started dating, and I realized like, girl, this is not that important. I could find a man. I need a house.
I can find that easily. I need a career, a 401k, and an insurance plan.
Like, we were not all supposed to be Lynn in this bitch. Okay?
Some that's of us were
supposed to be Jones. Some of us, damn, I would took Tony. Not Tony. I mean, I would took Maya. She may have had an annoying ass husband and a kid who Tony couldn't pronounce his name correctly, but she had a home, okay?
Honestly, I am Lynn in this bitch because I definitely hit that black girl streak of, well, shit, might as well go get a grad degree.
Girl, when like honestly, like it's just you're neurodivergent and you crave structure again.
I really do.
Like floating through life is horrible.
I'm having a horrible time to the point that I'm like, ooh, remember writing papers and studying? Well, writing is fun, but you remember studying in libraries until 11 p.m.
Girl,
going home to study again. Let's go do that.
Girl, I did not study.
Oh.
Child, I don't know how I graduated, but that's neither here nor there.
But like it does beg the question of like thinking about the stuff that we grew up watching, right? Like and the idea of, I mean, even the movies we watched. Like as somebody who's aspired for so long to be a writer, early 2000s TV and movies,
girl,
the single metro living woman who eats takeout in her beautiful ass apartment on the floor with her computer and her paper spread about her. She wears amazing outfits and shoes.
Like, how was Carrie affording all of them shoes on a writer's salary? How?
Blood money. Because it don't make sense. It don't make sense.
And listen, like, we're not saying, well, I'm not saying that, oh, everything needs to be realistic and, show the struggle. Like, yeah, I know this was fictional pieces of media. I know that the writers could write whatever the fuck they wanted. But come on now, like, y'all was just selling us the dream, babes. Like, y'all was selling us some stuff that was not
and my
real.
Stupid big head ass leaned into it. Because I knew without a doubt that by the time I turned 30, that I would at the very least be living in this gorgeous apartment somewhere in New York, probably Brooklyn, working some amazing job where I was happy to go every single day because I was living my dream and writing my ass off on my way to figuring out if I was going to get published or something. Like, that was my dream.
Yeah.
And if there was a partner involved, I don't know what the fuck they looked like. I just know that I was just like, okay with the way things were. Unlike Joan and them, I was not pressed about a man or a woman now, but I was definitely pressed about that career and that not even being rich, maybe stability.
Yeah, having financial stability. I think that when you think about like what some of the problems of like Gen X 30s, because the only thing we were able to really observe at young ages was the 30s of Gen X people. Mm-hmm. And then people like our age started making media about being 30. And it differed wildly in different ways that we'll get into a little bit later in the conversation. But some of the problems like, okay, women in your 20s are your adversaries because you're competing with them for a man.
I'm sorry, me and a woman in her 20-year-old woman, 30-year-old me, we can't even play catch. We not in the same arena. And that's no shade to you, maybe a little shade to me, but no shade to you at all. There's no reason why we should be even fighting for the same things right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we view, at this point, we view men that date, like, women that are 10 years younger than them as gross. But, another thing that we can talk about a little later when we switch perspectives. But thinking about the fact that everything boiled down to partnership. is really interesting to me. I think, part of it could be because, the generation that preceded Gen X women were boomers.
Mm-hmm.
And in those women's lifetime, in boomer generation's lifetime, in their mother's lifetime, there was a time when women could not work if they didn't have a husband. Like, your entire survival as a human being was based on having a man if you were a woman. You needed one to survive in this country. So while that's why I understand why, men are such a focal point for,
the
and
Gen
it
X
still
30s,
is. Yeah, the Gen X 30s. And it still is, to an extent. Like, we're not acting like we the strongest bitches on the planet as millennials. A lot of us are, child. Let's just say I don't support all women.
Some of you hoes are dumb.
Yeah, some of you hoes are dumb. But yeah, I completely understand the perspective, and I understand why some of that thinking is a thing. But now, and I guess this is where we can kind of really shift, because it has been an interesting conversation talking about the past, but kind of want to talk about like what's different, because we know it was about men, it was about penis, but now that there are issues with like security, stability, financial stability, as like women are more independent, women have outpaced men as far as, like, especially black women have outpaced black men as far as education. We see that the priorities of women kind of have shifted over the years, and statistics and stuff can show. What do you think is like one of the main differences that you've kind of observed being like newly being 30, as far as like what was taught to you versus what you're experiencing?
I think the expectation of having specific things by a certain age has definitely changed. Mm-hmm. Like I distinctly remember even in my 20s getting into a lot of tiffs with my mother, a Gen X woman, about the things that I didn't have in comparison to the things that she thought that I should have by a certain time. Mm-hmm. And then she finally got to look at the economy, the world around her, and it was just like, well, damn, I don't think you can get any of this stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's what I've been trying to tell you. Open up your ears.
Yeah.
Like, the expectation of having a place of your own is a little different. Mm-hmm. Like, I know a lot of people who took a little longer to leave their parents' homes.
Yeah. So myself included.
And I think there used to be this ideal of that being such a negative thing, but now we're just like, no, that's actually normal, and it's actually quite smart, financially smart, to take the time to stay at home a little longer, figure out what you need instead of just jumping out into the real world. I mean, first of all, nobody ever told me how much a rug cost until I had to buy one.
Girl.
And I did not know a rug was going to cost me that much damn money.
Child, I didn't know, like, furniture is expensive, so, like, okay, now I can understand why some people have empty apartments.
Okay, because my apartment was empty as hell when I moved into it. There was a bed, the rug I bought, because, like I said, ain't nobody telling me how much that was going to cost, and my TV. It took a while to get a couch in there.
It takes a while to, like, furnish your home. It takes a while to do all of these things that you kind of saw done when you were a child.
What would you say is the largest difference?
For me, I think part of what you said about those perspectives changing as far as like what you should have by a certain time. And I think the larger piece of that for me is just the economy has made it so that women have to shift perspective and have to shift thought processes as far as survival is concerned. Like, a man is no longer the key to survival in this country, especially as a black woman. Like I said, black women have outpaced black men significantly in the arenas of, like, education. So if we're outpacing, we're making more money, and that's been, like, a very contentious conversation that's been happening within the black community for the past, I want to say, couple of decades or so. The independent black woman is arising from the ashes and doesn't need a man to survive. And I think that even though some of those thought processes were indulated into us when we were younger, like, independent woman came out when I was, in middle school? Mm-hmm. those thought processes were given to us as like options. I think that a lot of the thought process was still, you still need a man. Like, you know, Beyonce may have made Independent Woman, but Beyonce not leaving her man. And she has had a man since she was 21 years old publicly. So, you know, when you think about those things and you think of that, you know, shift in perspective, you understand why women aren't really interested in chasing a man anymore. You got to chase that bag, you know. And although we still have sects of women who believe that a man is the key to your financial freedom, you know, get that bag, girl, you know, go and get that man. That type of behavior and thought processes are still there. A lot more women are understanding that, you know, these niggas is doing just as bad as we are. Patriarchy is not helping them as much as it should. So they not making, you know, the type of money that can take care of a person. So yeah, that thought process is shifted, and women are less interested in, you know, these niggas.
Or just, I would say, like, maybe to in the place of inclusivity, just saying like relationships are a large part of podcast conversations, but truly are not that. Like, people aren't, I don't think, necessarily binging their entire lives on romantic relationships anymore.
I mean, they can't. I think that's like,
yeah,
you know, because back in the day, like even 30 years ago, 33 years ago almost, in 1991, I could work at like a fast food restaurant and have enough to have an apartment. So, like, that's just not a thing anymore. You can't just work a regular job and still survive. So you can't really focus on dick in the same way that you used to be able to.
I think, I mean, what was your true, I know we kind of talked about this a little bit, but like, what did you expect you would be right now?
Where did I expect I would be? I'm going to be honest and say I didn't really have like a strong vision of what my future would be. I had fantasies about myself in different
That's real
roles, but I didn't really have a strong like direction. But I definitely thought that I would have more materially by this point than I do. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to say I'm doing terrible, y'all. But I just thought I would have more financial freedom by this age. What about you?
I certainly thought that first and foremost, I wouldn't be looking at grad school, that I would have done it by now. I can't say the same that I ever, like, even when I went into college, that I had a clear thought process of what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life or where I was going to be, which used to be daunting, but isn't as daunting as anymore. Yeah. There is no real structure in the world right now, so
I will survive.
But I definitely agree. I definitely thought, though, that at the very least, materially, I would have much more than I have now. I do, at the very least, have a couch.
She has a couch, guys.
I have a couch.
It's a really nice couch, too.
It ain't very comfortable, but I do have a couch.
What are some of the things that you feel like, you know, you can understand or you can connect with some of the narratives that you were given from Gen X women about being 30 or being at this age range?
I think one thing, and it was never said explicitly, like I think sometimes, especially coming from a family that is not formally educated, I've learned that they say a lot of things that are rooted in sometimes praxis, but not necessarily folded into the language of it.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that the idea of being an independent woman was all I was raised on. I don't really think I grew up with the idea at all that a man was even, or I should say partner, was absolutely necessary. That was something, I mean, even when I daydreamed and I had those fantasies about what my life would look like I said, if I dreamt a partnership, they never really had a face. It was never around the idea of marriage. It was just like, if I ever wanted to have a kid one day, how would that happen? But I definitely grew up with women who had no choice but to try and make it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that's something I've held on to. This kind of like independence of I need to have these things. And when I say these things, I need to have things that I want on my own before I can even consider or want or think about partnership.
Yeah.
And it's still something that I fear I hold on to today, which I think does get in the way of romance for me sometimes. But
don't let people do stuff for you.
But yeah, I think that's what that was for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I would say I think that a realization that I had now that I'm like here in my early 30s in a different way than was told to me, like you said, was the idea of being chronically aware of your age and how that makes you more or less valuable in the context of existing as a woman, period. I think that it was marketed or told to us in like 20-year-olds or 20-somethings are your adversaries. But I think it's not necessarily 20-year-olds being your adversaries. It's that you're more chronically aware of how much youth is valued in our society and how once you get to a certain age, that devaluation feels very deep.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it happens in really subtle ways, very subtle ways. But you're so chronically aware that this would not have happened if you were 26.
My sister and I share a father.
Mm-hmm.
So she grew up on the West Coast with her mother. I grew up in Detroit with my mother. There's also about an 8-year age difference between us. She got married before me. She also is now a mother, so she had a kid before me. And I will never forget meeting some of her mother's side of the family at the wedding. And I was grabbing food, and I think one of her uncles saw me and was like, "Hey, you're Chanel's older sister. Can't miss me." I'm her older black sister, fully black sister. She is biracial, Filipina and black. And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "There's still time for you."
You're like, geez.
It's like, well, damn, I didn't know I was running out.
Exactly.
But I still feel pretty young and spry. What you mean?
Right.
But I was just like, okay, like thanks. I would just smile through it. But I'm like, well, damn. But it was definitely that. It was like, oh, your younger sister beat you to this. Don't be worried though. You still have time.
You still have time, baby. You're not going to be an old, decrepit witch in the house with a bunch of cats.
But hold on. And it's like,
that.
damn, how y'all ain't know that was my plan? That's her plan. How you ain't know this was mine?
And, well, but the thing is, even if it was your plan, they wouldn't respect it.
Well, they certainly wouldn't. That particular group is extremely religious and believes in going by the book of marriage, college, marriage, kids. So I'm already out of my lane.
But it is really weird to have that realization that people are no longer perceiving you as like, oh, look at her go, and more like, oh, well, she still has a little bit of time. It's not too late for her.
Because God forbid if I show up to a family event at the age of 40 and I'm still unmarried. Lord Jesus.
It's like, what's wrong with her? You know, I had so many hopes and dreams for you and your vagina. Like, what's going on here?
Okay, y'all. Thank you for thinking of me. Send me prayers and thoughts, I guess.
And I mean, and it's not just like society or just like people in your life interpersonally. It's everywhere. Like,
oh yeah.
You know, I'm gonna be 33 in a few months, like 6 months, I think now. And I'm like, well, I want to have a kid, but after 35, you're considered having a geriatric pregnancy. Like, for real. You know, it's a high risk now because I'm, like, older than 35. So many things that, like, I kind of could fool la la and not necessarily think too deeply about in my 20s. I have to think about now. It's no longer like an infinite amount of time and space between myself and these big milestones that I was thinking I would someday. I didn't necessarily have like an exact time period, but I knew that it was going to happen for me at some point.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, it might not happen if I don't make certain decisions based off of what I want and how I want to have it. If I want to have a baby by 35 at this point, then if I'm not going to do it in my current relationship with the person that I'm with, like God forbid something happen, now my clock's been set back a few years because I got to find a partner.
Someone worthy of being a partner to you and a father of your child.
Exactly. Like, it's no more like, oh, this is just, I can just see where this goes. Like, if I want to be married, if I want a partnership, not even want to be married, if you want somebody to be like a good partner to you, I don't think you have the energy that you may have had in your 20s to just date people like devil may care.
You know what? Hearing you say that now, I'm like, well, damn, were we just too hard on Joan, Tony, Lynn, and Maya? They might have ate us up on that one, because I definitely think that even when I turned 29, immediately I was just like, oh my God, 30 is around the corner. And then I turned 30, and I thought I spent the whole year from 29 to 30 just preparing myself to not think that way.
Yeah.
Telling myself, don't think that the sky shrinks because you're 30. There is still dark and infinite and full of stars. You can go anywhere. You can do anything. And now I have these moments where I get bogged down by thinking about the fact that, oh my God, I'm 30. And there's still this idea of, I have so much time. Like that uncle at my sister's wedding. I still got time.
You still got time.
He didn't lie about it. He didn't have to say that though.
Exactly.
But he didn't lie about it. But there's still this room to make some decisions. I think what comes with it when you turn 30 is this understanding of you have to kind of shift your perspective. You kind of have to shift how you do these things. I have friends who are older than me who have crested 35 and 36, who desperately want children and want to be married. And now they're just like, okay, so I'm not married. I don't know if that's going to happen in time for me to still have a child in this time frame. Yeah. But what are the other avenues I can take to being a parent?
Yeah.
Because that's still something that they want regardless of partnership.
Yeah.
Or now they've understood that regardless of partnership, this is still something I want to do.
Or even the type of partnership, because a lot of people that I know have been like interested in platonically raising a child together with another person, which is like, it takes a village. I think that it's really good that people are thinking a little bit differently about it. But like you said, that internal clock ticks so much louder. And I think you just get more serious about the decisions that you make. And of course we said earlier, our values are a little bit different. Like, we talked earlier about the Gen X examples of like late 20s, early 30s that we had, the main ones being Sex and the City and Girlfriends. And I think a good example for millennial depiction of late 20s, early 30s is Insecure and Broad City. I think are two like great examples of the differences between those two generations.
Yeah.
Because like Abby and Alana didn't have shit. Abby was in a place where she had a horrible roommate, or a roommate who had a horrible boyfriend that was there all the time. She couldn't do shit about it because she was poor and living in New York. And she didn't know what she wanted to do. Like, I love that. And Broad City is about two Jewish women living in the city of New York. And it spans, I want to say, 5 or 6 years of their life.
Yeah.
So Abby, I think, starts off at 25, ends at 30 or 31. And Alana starts off at like 23, 24.
Yeah, something like that.
And she ends off at like 27, 28 maybe.
Yeah, so close enough.
Close enough to 30. But one of the really interesting things about Broad City is that if you watch each episode individually, it seems like they have their own like individual storyline within each episode. But if you watch the series as a whole, you see the actual narrative that you're supposed to grab from it. So one of the good narratives that I love was Abby. Abby started off working at a gym, and her goal, the goal that she wanted to achieve was to be a trainer at that gym, like 2 seasons, we watched this girl try and fail miserably to become a trainer at this gym that she was working in. At the end of the series, Abby ends up going to do an art fellowship because she went to school for art. Mm-hmm. She always wanted to do art, but she found herself pigeonholed into a place where, okay, I can't do what I want to do, which is such a relatable thing for millennials.
That she starts working her way up in another career path. She's like, well, I'm already here. Now I've built this new aspiration.
Yeah, based on the fact that my real dream is something I feel is so inaccessible that I have to like make these goals up in my head for what I want to do here because I'm going to settle for this. I'm going to settle for, okay, I really want to be a trainer. And then she gets the confidence and finds herself and understands, okay, I want to be an artist. I went to school for art.
So what am I doing?
So what am I doing? Why don't I have she didn't have the confidence at the beginning of the series to even, think about that. But as she aged and as she grew, she gained that confidence to find herself and find what she really wanted to do. And the same happened for Alana. Alana was kind of just floating through life, honestly. She had a job that she didn't necessarily hate, but was very low effort for her.
Oh, she was a gig worker too.
Yeah, so she was like more of a gig worker. And at the end, she decided to go back to school to study psychology because she realized that was her passion. And I think, can you relate to being a millennial and deeply understanding those kind of concepts?
Yeah, I mean, even you bringing up Insecure, where we meet Issa D, where she's working at this nonprofit that she once was passionate about and then slowly but surely realizes that there's no growth in that career path for her. Mm-hmm. And then eventually she decides to take a chance on herself.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that is absolutely something that resonates so much for where I am right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had conversations with older people who are at the age of 60. I met this woman who's just like, well, if not now, then when?
Yeah.
And still being able to have that ideal of, why can't I take a chance on myself? Why can't I? What's going to happen? What could go wrong? Then what could go right? And I definitely feel that. I feel like I mean, very, very Abby coded. And we used to say that when we would watch the show together.
Yeah, like Tay's Abby coded, I'm Alana coded.
Her relationship with Bed Bath & Beyond is me and Target. Like, I'm being 100% honest. But I absolutely think that maybe I wouldn't have seen it until you said something about it being confidence. Because confidence to me has always felt like something that was so out of my reach sometimes, especially last few years. It's been tough.
Vulnerable time.
But I definitely feel like what could go wrong? Like, I mean, I just went back and read my old journals. I already know what could go wrong. I already know what wrong looks like. So, like, what would it hurt to just try this little thing?
Yeah.
Pop out. Do something like this.
Yeah, this is us taking a chance, like us being here, doing this podcast. This is us taking a chance on ourselves and taking a shot on ourselves. And I do think, like, because like we may have mentioned this earlier, but a lot of people over the years have told us that this is something that we should pursue. And I don't know if we would have been, like, really, we weren't confident enough. I know I wasn't confident enough to, like, just go out and do it.
Well, no, what the fuck would we have talked about? The whole concept of this is based on years lived and experience gathered.
I mean, I'm saying that we still may have had, even if it wasn't this exact subject, because for years, even in our 20s, people were telling us, we enjoy the way you guys think about things. Y'all should do a podcast. Why hasn't it happened until now? I think part of it could be having the confidence to, for me, part of it was having the confidence to ask our producer if he wanted to actually do this with us, because he's legit, y'all. Like, he for real. But, I wouldn't have had the confidence to approach him and be like, do you want to just do this with us? Do you want to take out time out of your day and dedicate yourself to, like, doing a long form project like this with us? I don't think I would have had the confidence in the past.
Well, I mean, I think something that I know for a fact was desperately missing for me in my 20s was intentionality in the first place. There was not a whole lot of thought behind things that I was doing. They were, when I was blogging, there's a reason why my blogs kept coming down, because there was not enough foundation. There was not enough. It was just like, I'm just jumping into this thing and not giving it any thought. And so I got pulled away from it. And I definitely think...
but you had some... I will say, though, you had some great essays on there, and I definitely think that confidence was a big reason why
I was definitely about to agree with you on that and say, like, without a doubt, a lot of that was, I'm out of my league. I do not know what I'm doing. I don't have a degree in journalism. Who's going to want to read what Little Old Tay has to say?
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, like...
I'm just going to write it anyway. And it doesn't matter if 2 people read it. If 0 people read it, I'm just going to do it because it feels good to me. I think I know enough to be saying what I'm saying, so I'm about to say it. And that's all that really matters for me now. But before, I was definitely like heavy on needing the validation and the viewership and the community to back me. And now I'm just
same.
My best friend said I got it, so I got it.
Girl, I mean, honestly, I definitely can say that I think that having that experience of being so unsure of myself in the past, and now I'm not saying I'm all the way there, okay? But let me know if you agree with me on this. I feel so much more confident in the decisions. I feel confident enough to be intentional for what you like, connecting what you said. Like, I feel confident enough to be okay with the decisions I make and like doing something towards it. And I think the reason why I feel that way is because I'm a little bit more sure of myself and who I am to myself. You know, there were things that people could possibly tell me about myself in the past that I do not think that they could tell me about myself now. Like, I'm always up to understanding how people perceive me because, like, I've learned from the past that sometimes the way that people perceive you and your intent cannot be the same thing sometimes. But now I feel like I care a little bit less about how certain people perceive me or accept me or, you know, whatever.
There's a common theme with people I talk to around my birthday when I turned 30, in which when I will never forget, I was at work talking to this woman and I said that she told me her birthday had passed recently. I was like, oh, really? So was mine. And she was just like, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 30. And she was just like, you know, that's when it starts, kind of. And that's when she started to tell me, you start to care less and less about a lot of things, about what the world has to say to you, about what your mama has to say to you.
Okay.
About you start to really ground yourself into who you are. And I don't think I noticed the shift until I was in a situation that required me to have to look at my 20-something-year-old self in the mirror and be like, you would not have made this decision a couple years ago.
Do you mind saying what that situation may have been?
The situation was absolutely being involved with someone who I thought I listened to and believed that I was the one who was stirring up the commotion and trouble in our connection, in our relationship. And then I was just like, guess what? You don't have to talk to this person.
Period.
You don't have to apply and you don't have to chase after this person to make them see you, to make them answer you. You can quite literally stop. And no better feeling in the world than to look at my younger self knowing that that's not how I would have responded. I would have anxiously attached and kept going and trying to pull out what I needed and what I wanted from this person. And then 30-year-old me was like, you good. Blocked you on social media. Yes. I don't need to talk to you. I don't need to see you. And if you run into me, what Dionne Warwick say? Walk on by.
Walk on by. I mean, I think what you said was like super real because I don't think people understand the value of being able to know yourself in that way and be a little bit more confident in your decisions in that way. Like, do you feel like going forward, walking forward with this, you know, newfound confidence, do you feel like it will grow as you age? Do you feel like it might ebb and flow?
I think I can say right now that what it feels like is an ebb and flow, but I think it's because I am working through and healing through so many different things that have pushed my confidence down to the depths.
Yeah.
So even though I sound like I think I got it together, I don't, because 2 days from now I could be down in the pits. But I know, and I have learned how to pull myself out of it, which is not a tool I was equipped with before. I think it's an ebb and flow that the room in which it flows will grow. I feel like, so I think I would say it's about one and the same, where it's just like it's going to go back and forth, because I don't think there's any one person who moves through the world like my grandma might say she did, but like your shit don't stink.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that the baseline is
higher.
that yeah, and I feel like the more time I give myself, and I think in general the more time people give themselves to get to know themselves, to look back and be like, okay, it's okay that you made those decisions, that was the old you, it's okay to change.
Yeah,
which I think is probably my biggest thing about being 30.
Yeah, I think I was gonna just say, like, that change is really anxiety inducing. I think that while it's kind of a weird cognitive dissonance, because I can say personally, while I have felt a lot more confident in my decision making, in the way that I communicate with people, like even family members, like I can tell my grandma, we're not talking about that. Like, we're gonna switch the subject. I'm not talking to you about that, and move on with it, and it be respected, you know? So, like, while that confidence is there and very welcome and appreciated, I found myself kind of dealing with certain things that I thought I had got over in my 20s, but kind of reared its head in a different way because I have changed in certain ways and am moving throughout the world in a different way. But I think that that anxiety, it's crazy. It's like getting to know a new person. It's like I know who I am, and I have a deeper sense of self, but I'm also kind of getting to know myself at 30 something.
And I mean, we talked about the mental and some of the emotional changes, but Lord Jesus, ain't nobody tell me the physical changes started this soon. And I know personally we've talked a lot about that, but first of all, she is getting thicker, period.
Okay.
Like, shout out to 30 for that. But also, the bones be creaking.
Yeah. My back be hurting. I mean, I've dealt with like I've dealt with fibroids at this age. Found out I had them I think about a year or so ago. But that chronic illness and like actually dealing with your body changing in that way was something I was not prepared for at all. I was not prepared to have an ongoing health issue that, you know, and unfortunately a lot of people deal with chronic illness in their 20s, but a lot of us don't, because your body does a lot of the work for you. Like, you can eat however you want for real. You can do certain things that you can't do anymore. And that realization is really shocking. It's like a bucket of cold water being splashed on you. Drinking, like, I was never a drinker to begin with, but child, even the little stuff I used to do as far as like drinking more than a certain amount, I can't do that shit and be straight the next day. No, that's not happening anymore.
I told someone, I was just like, just so you know, hangovers last about 48 hours once you hit a certain age.
Girl.
But it's just like, I feel like, and we probably should have prefaced this conversation in saying that we're talking about our 30s, but we are early 30s.
Yeah.
We are literally just climbed the hill. We're not over it for real. And that the things that we have noticed are a culmination of late 20 changes to early 30 shifts. And I think that what it feels like right now is understanding that there's a lot of truth to what we've been told and inundated about our 30s. But there's also, with the world changing, the shifts that we're required to understand and do. Because, you know, having a house at the age of 30 is a feat.
Yeah.
Having so many different things at the age of 30 is a feat. And so I don't think we're as hard on ourselves as we probably would have been. And honestly, as older generations have probably been on us up until they looked around and saw that we couldn't have the same things that they had in the first place.
Yeah, like now people are starting to see like that it is a different world. And I appreciate that because, girl, the gaslighting during my early young adult years, girl, was absolutely horrible. Are you excited for the rest of this decade?
That's such an interesting question to answer, considering what the world around us looks like.
Girl.
So in the bubble of personal growth and like the community I'm building and the family, both blood and found, that I'm creating, yes. In general, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. There's a lot going on, so I don't know what's going on. But I'm in this bitch. And
yes.
for the long haul, for the better of it, for the worst of it. And I think I'm equipped to roll with the punches. Now, I'm going to cry over some spilled milk.
Girl, yeah.
I have to. It's in my nature to be very dramatic at first. But I do think I am equipped to make a plan. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes me excited, because I'm not flailing about anymore. Well, I am flailing, but I'm just like, I know I can land here, I can land here, I can land here, as before.
It's less flailing, more of an interpretive dance.
Exactly. You know, a little two-step. What about you?
I'm excited. I'm kind of scared because I'm really uncomfortable with change. And a lot of my early life was me being forced into a lot of really, really, really big life changes. So I think I've gotten comfortable with a place of quote unquote stability. So some of the things that I know I want within this time period, like having a child, like getting married, like, you know, doing different things with my career, I know are forcing me to change drastically. And that is something that invokes fear in me. So I'm going to say I'm excited. I am excited, but I'm still, I'm not, you know, I guess I could say delusional about the fact that I know there's going to be a lot that comes with some of the goals that I've set for myself. Mm. So, yeah, I'm half and half, I guess. But 30s has been cool. I feel really good about, you know, being here. If I wouldn't go back, I'll just say that.
No, I don't think that I would necessarily say that if somebody put me in a time machine and said, would you like to start over at the age of 20?
No.
Mm-mm.
No. I don't want to relive that. I don't want to relive my canon events.
I also just think that things have played out the way they've played out, and I am where I am for a reason, and I'm cut different than other people. There are some people who knew right away what they wanted to do, mm-hmm. who they wanted to be, and I think I am grateful for the opportunity to be okay with understanding that I get to answer those questions any number of ways, however many times I want for the rest of my life.
And that there is like a Gen X woman, very influential in my life, my mom, has kind of made me feel really good about aging, because she just turned 50, and like last year she turned 50, and she's made a major career change. She's gotten a degree. She has, you know, added more things to her plate, more hobbies. She's traveling more.
She renovated her basement.
But I think seeing her at that age really getting to the point where she like, I'm ready to party. I'm shifting some things. I'm changing some things. I'm reaching goals that I didn't reach before, because I'm really proud of her for getting her degree at 50.
I mean, following your mom on Instagram, she be outside more than we do.
Child, she really do.
So it really don't stop, and it doesn't have to stop
at all. So that's the hope that I have. Like, you know, seeing my mom, seeing her say, okay, you know, I was working in the field of, you know, HIV research, and I see health disparities within Black people, Black women. I want to shift my focus to that, and I can. And starting her nonprofit, you know, doing those things. It took some time. It wasn't overnight. And being able to have a front row seat to see that sometimes the real goals that you have in your life, you may not even discover until you get to a certain place. My mom didn't know that she had a passion for HIV research and community and helping that community in particular until she happened to get a job because she needed the money and she needed to work in that field. And she realized, oh, I'm really passionate about this. But she didn't make that realization because, you know, she took a little bit more time to do certain things like move out and do certain things, you know, than people, her contemporaries. But to see, okay, these dreams, you may not even know what your next dream is because you haven't gotten there yet. So, and there's still time.
So don't fill up too much and save some room for new passions. Save room for new interests. Save room for the fact that you might find out that something you liked your entire life ain't what you like anymore. Hello, shout out to the late bloom queers in the room.
And you know what that is?
Growth. Thank you guys so much for listening. Remember that you can follow us at New Growth Pod. That is NU Growth Pod on TikTok, Instagram, and find us on YouTube. I'm Taya's Offline on Instagram.
And you can follow me at I am Desi J on all platforms. It is I am _Desi J.